Gonna go
I'm glad
ahead,
it's over.
hitting recording. If anyone else pops on, then we will just admit them. But what I want, last week we talked about leveling up for buyers part 1, and I sent everyone links to some information and some slide information. I want everybody, and during the week, I think I sent the workplace chat information to everybody for Marketplace to go in and get your buyer's presentation toolkit. It's awesome. There are so many links in there that you should click on, that you should delve into. There's a new EXP University has so many other presentations that you can sharpen your own skills with, negotiation and talking with buyers, etc. And there's even scripts that you can link and download to. I'm actually going to download the scripts during the week and send them to everybody, because next week, what I want us all to do is practice role playing
Cool.
with each other live. I mean, we could do it one-on-one if you want in between now and then, but I want, as a group, all of us to do it together. And I want to break everybody out in little groups. Hopefully everyone shows up for that. Otherwise, we'll just play with whoever shows up. And it's more tangible, more real when you can role play with someone versus just trying to do it on your cell phone. Although that does work in a pinch. So that was what we did last week, working with buyers. Today is part 2, working with sellers. And what I want to do here is, let's see, get to this page here. So at EXP, we are revolutionizing the experience for sellers. We're here to help sellers understand how negotiations and strategic compensation planning can streamline the selling process. By using listing strategies that emphasize clear expectations designed to attract more buyers, people in your peers, other agents, have more at their fingertips than any other brokerage does right now. I could tell you that much. I have friends still at other companies, and a lot of them are still scrambling. They're trying, they're doing their best, but I could tell you right now, EXP has so much more than anyone else. And that should give you confidence, especially when you're talking to buyers or sellers, specifically sellers, when they say, if you happen to go up just having conversation or on an actual listing presentation, well, why should I choose EXP Realty? You can let them know that through clarity and strategic planning, we at EXP position ourselves as invaluable partners to sellers, enhancing success rates and seller satisfaction. Our tailored agreements and comprehensive support tools enable us to provide sellers a distinct service that aligns with the seller goals. Of course, you can put all of that in your own words, however you want, but let them know that we're committed at EXP, and you as an agent, to leading the change in the real estate industry, focusing on integrity, clarity, innovation to serve your clients, the seller, better than anyone else out there. Knowing that EXP gives you this information should give you that confidence, right? So something that's going to change, and Michelle Vargas and I talked about this a little bit, is open houses. How will open houses work with sellers? Well, as a listing agent, you represent the seller, and that's not a problem for you to hold the open house. If there are unrepresented buyers coming through and want representation, you will want to have a buyer-broker employment agreement established. More clarity surrounding that should be unfolding. I thought it was going to happen this week, but it didn't. And I heard from the broker group today, it's coming. So I'm hoping for next week, but all they said was it's coming. So they're feverishly working on things, and they're working with the legal department to make sure that what they put in writing will be okay. So just keep your eyes open for stuff like that. And as soon as I like to try and grab the information and give it to you before it gets sent out, broadcasted to everybody within EXP. I feel like that's one of the values that I could bring to the table to you all.
Awesome.
So sliding scale compensation, there is going to be one for sellers. For example, X amount, a buyer agent, and there will be a sliding scale for buyers, right? So for X amount, a buyer agent will do all of these things. The buyer broker employment agreement will be needed to have the final total amount a buyer's agent charges that buyer, similar to a listing agreement. And this will vary from agent to agent and with what each agent provides as a service. So pros and cons of offering a buyer's agent compensation, just like coaching a seller on pricing for the current market conditions. So you're coaching a seller when you're there talking with them at a seller presentation about pricing for time, right? You want to, if depending on their situation, you want to price it so it'll sell quickly, or do you want to price it to keep it on the market? So there's that conversation that you have. So you're going to talk about pricing for time, condition, buyer type, and possible concessions is going to be available in the buyer presentation toolkit. It gives you different itemized items of what to consider as a buyer concession. Having that conversation with sellers upfront is going to be really helpful. So just know that going forward. Sorry, that background noise is our dog fighting the box. Is it really loud?
I don't hear anything.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so compensation has always been a seller choice. Sellers negotiate the fee that they are willing to pay for services of agents and marketing the property. Sellers may choose to pay buyer's agents, but the buyer's agent must request an understanding of this before and alongside the submitted offer. So all of that has to be done ahead of time. Sellers have always had the choice to put homes on the MLS. Buyers start the buying process online, and the more visibility to showcase homes to buyers is better. So buyers can always look online, right? Everybody was always on Zillow, and we always put properties in the MLS. We don't have to. You never had to. And now it's even more clear that you don't have to, but it's better for a seller to get the maximum exposure they can on a property. How do they do that? By offering out a buyer broker compensation, by putting it in the MLS, by putting it everywhere. The more you take away, the smaller the exposure is for buyers to look at that particular piece of property. And then having the conversation about concessions. You know, if you already exclude the MLS and you exclude buyer compensation, oh, but wait, hey, now we're not even going to pay any concessions. We don't want to pay any fees for, you know, non-recurring closing costs. This is getting smaller, or we don't want to pay any fees for the roof or carpet or flooring or anything. It's as is. They're buying it at our price. Like that, right? So they've really limited the pool of buyers to whatever fits in this little box right here. Are they going to get top dollar? Hard to say, depending on their condition of the home and exactly what's needed. So these conversations are definitely going to need to be happening with sellers prior to or right at the time when you have that listing agreement out, to have the conversation with them. EXP has launched. This is so good. And I know you may have seen it, heard it, maybe signed up, but don't really know a lot about it. EXP launched a program called EXP Exclusives to provide registered clients access to more EXP listings and increase visibility for our sellers. Huge selling point to a seller. When you're having that conversation, why should I choose EXP Realty? Oh, well, we have this program called EXP Exclusives. And what we do is we provide it to all of our registered clients, and it's a brokerage exclusive. Only EXP agents and their registered clients can see the properties that are coming soon or not on the MLS in this program. And that's it. No other brokerage has this program except for EXP. So this is more leverage to finding a buyer. We might even find a buyer before it goes on the MLS if we're going to put it on the MLS. So this is a really huge tool, and agents are legally required to show homes as directed by their buyers, regardless of compensation. Know that, okay? Sellers can pay listing agents more than what any buyer may request or payment to the buyer's agent. sellers don't have to pay buyer's agents. They just keep in mind the possible exclusion of some potential buyers. So you have to show property if your client wants you to, right? You don't have to. You can. Do you want to work for free? I don't. I hope you don't either, because people come into real estate to make money. So you're going to want to make sure that you have those conversations ahead of time with buyers and sellers. And this is Zenlist. So go ahead and if you get your phone, if you did not sign up already to Zenlist, go ahead and take a picture of that. Wait, hang on. Here it is, the QR code. Get on the train, sign up today. You'll start to see more and more agents utilizing this. And these are office exclusives. We can share within the brokerage properties that are coming soon and any cooperating fees because they are EXP office exclusives. It's EXP's version of the MLS. That's how big this is. It's huge, 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 huge. So if, let's pretend some of these MLSs end up going away, right? Some of them might, depending on their membership. Because MLSs are part of NAR and CAR, well, if NAR somehow in the future maybe is not like it is today and people start leaving NAR for whatever reason or start leaving MLSs for whatever reason, and people already are, I'm not saying it's happening in California necessarily, but it's an option and people might do that. Right now, today, we look at the MLS as the place to go, right? For all of the listings that are out there, right? Well, if they go away, EXP already has this as what in place, so that way it takes the place of the MLS if the MLS goes away. Best case scenario is it's an addition to the MLS and it's just for anything that's either coming soon or exclusive. Because right now in the MLS, if a property is coming soon, what can you do? Nothing. You can't share it with your client because of the clear cooperation policy, right? You cannot share it. If it's coming soon, members only, do not show, all you can say is, I have a property coming up in Watsonville or Santa Cruz or, Los Banos. I can't tell you anything else about it because of the clear cooperation policy. But if that same property is in Zenlist and I register my clients, now I can tell them about that property. But they are registered, so they can't go and share that link with anybody else that's not registered. It's only for the people that you register. So if you have buyers, you register your buyers onto Zenlist so they can see, and they can even put some criteria in there as well. Like I want, Merced or wherever county, they can go in and put in what they're looking for, and they will see whatever EXP agents are using this and uploading information in there. They'll see what's not on the public market, what's not on MLS. They'll get to see it if it's in Zenlist. So it's huge. Okay, I'm trying to really impress upon you the significance of this Zenlist. I think it's amazing, and I think it's just going to be what sells agents, what sells sellers, what sells buyers on using you as their agent. And I can tell you right now, just from the employee side of things, that I see so many transactions between EXP agents. I see so many transactions that are off market, more than I ever did before. So they're happening. People are using Zenlist and it's working. So any questions on Zenlist?
No, it sounds great. Have you signed up?
I did.
Okay. Is that a long process?
No, it's super fast.
Okay.
The main thing when you sign up and it asks you for your MLS, you want to say
EXP.
Yeah, you want to use the EXP thing because then it keeps you within EXP. You can have up to 10 registered users. After 10, then they have a paid program. So if you have 20 buyers and sellers that you want to use this, you might need to pay for the bigger program. But otherwise, up to 10, it's free. Okay.
Yeah, it says choose EXP Realty. Okay.
Okay, and so buyer concessions. See, oh, this is the one I was telling you about where it's itemized out and you can read those on the screen. So concessions are when the seller covers some of the buyer's closing costs or other expenses in purchasing the property. Four common types of concessions are seller credits to buyers, contract for the buyer broker, right? That's going to be one of them. Another one will be closing costs to cover points, rate buy downs, etc. The third would be credit to cover flooring, roof, etc. The fourth one would be credit for home warranty or other type of service. Sure, she wasn't demolish whatever I had in here. There you go. You can have the rest of that. Okay, and benefits of offering the concessions. This is going to be why those are going to be some of the things you're going to tell the seller. These are some of the things that a buyer may ask for as a concession for a discount on the price or adjustment in pricing, if that. Why should seller offer concessions? Because it attracts more buyers. It appeals to buyers who have financial considerations and it stands out in a competitive market. If 10 of the sellers that have their properties listed are not offering out any concessions or any buyer broker compensation, but one does, probably the one that does may get their house sold faster than the rest, because maybe the buyer is a first-time buyer. Maybe the buyer's a VA buyer. If that seller's offering concessions, not only can that VA buyer or first-time buyer's agent get paid, they might actually be able to also get some non-recurring closing costs from the seller to help them purchase that home. That's significant. And that's one way to keep inclusive to the market, VA buyers and first-time home buyers. Questions?
You said something about, oh, so go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What was that?
Go
You
ahead.
said something about concessions for the buyer brokers, seller broker and buyer broker. What does
Yes.
that have to do with the brokers? Or you just mean for the clients, the buyers?
No. So right now,
did I-
so agents are representatives of each brokerage. So you are a representative of EXP. And if I was with another local company, I would be the representative of that other local company. If I'm the listing agent, I'm going to get paid from the seller. After July, you may not get paid from the seller. It's up to your agent who's representing you to get paid by you, the buyer.
Right. Right. Okay, you were referring to that. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Is that called a concession?
No, no. Well, the payment will be called a concession. Yes. The
Okay.
buyer's
Okay.
agent's payment is going to be
Mhm.
considered a concession. Yes.
I think I would,
Okay.
for me to understand it, because it's a little confusing to me. I'm such a visual person, you know. I almost feel like we have to do, like, I know I can't wait, that we do script practice on this, but an example like of how it's written up, how it might look like in words as an example.
Oh.
So I visually understand it better. Does that make sense? Because I've not ever, I mean, unless are they going to change something in the contract, to have that?
The contracts, the RPA is going to be changed in June.
It will be
It will be.
updating to add that. So when someone's writing up an offer, or is that, going in the MLS in the comments,
Maybe. I mean, it might be. It depends. If you're a listing agent and so the MLSs are going to add different fields to the MLS. There's going to be a concession section in the MLS where if you're the listing agent, you can put in, and I don't know what it looks like yet because they haven't really come out with it yet. It doesn't have to be out until July, right? So
Right.
Everybody's just talking about what they think it's going to look like. Everybody thinks the MLS is going to have just this blank field for concessions. Maybe it'll have one field, meaning $50,000, and that's going to cover whatever. Could be the buyer's agent's fee, it could be the roof, it could be flooring, it could be, you know,
It doesn't
not
have to be
closing costs.
specific.
It could
They're
be
just,
anything.
oh, it'll be a field where you can check box, maybe.
Right.
I
Maybe.
mean, we don't know, but
Yeah, what that looks like, we don't know just yet.
yeah, okay.
I
Um,
was
and then-
listening to the state meeting this morning or today. Ryan Rosas was talking. That's the first time I heard his voice.
Mhm.
And he was talking about that and saying that it won't say that. We'll have to actually call the listing agent to find out if they are paying for the buyer
Right.
broker or
So,
not.
right.
Just ask them directly.
It's all right now, maybes, because it's not July
not-
yet, so we don't
uh-huh.
know. And when they're talking about this, it's maybe in California, it won't be on there. Maybe it will. I know some states don't have the same type of listing agreement that we do, or even the same type of buyer broker agreement we have. Some don't have them at all. Some states have been using those for years already. So it's all kind of hypothetical. Until July happens, we won't really know for sure what it's going to say or where it's going to say it or how it's going to say it. It's all hypothetical right now, but just know that something's going to change, right? So
Yeah, and some people do watch the news because I've been hit by one person already, saying, "Hey, I heard your commission's going to get cut."
they might.
What'd you say?
I said, nothing's, they're working that out.
Nothing's changed yet.
Just the verbiage. I said, everything's negotiable.
Right. The other thing is you can always, I love it when people ask questions, because just ask them the same question right back. Oh, well, tell me, what do you know about it? Find out
That's
their
a good
level of
one.
education,
I didn't know
because
about it.
a lot of the time when people ask questions like that, they're just grabbing from the headlines. They just want to hear what you have to say. They may not even be informed. They might be informed to some degree, but are they a realtor informed, or are they just a person
Watching the
listening to the
news.
news? So ask the question back to them. Well, tell me, what do you know about it? And then that can gauge how you're going to respond.
Mhm.
You also want to let sellers know, let them all know to make an informed decision. There's possible pitfalls if there's no buyer concessions. If there's none, it could lead to lower sales prices. Buyers may offer less to offset the concession fees. There could be higher days on market. FHA and VA buyers will definitely be impacted. There's going to be limited funds to begin with. So by not offering concessions, that limits the pool of buyers for FHA and VA. Relocations will be impacted, employees, military, etc.
Oh, relocation clients. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So if you're relocating, you have to have a buyer broker. When you send a referral, that agent has to also make them sign a buyer broker.
It's going to be across the nation, as far as I understand. Again, details won't be specific
Wow.
until we get a
Yeah.
lot closer. But yeah, keep that. Those are all things to keep in mind. I'm so sorry. Ben, sorry, everybody.
I can't even hear nothing.
Really? Okay, I'm so
can't
sorry. Okay. And then, okay, finally, you want to have a net sheet for the sellers. You want to be able to have a couple net sheets, right? And that'll help them see the black and white of the net proceeds after concessions. So maybe I would never show them one with just nothing unless they tell you they want to do it, as is. We don't want to concede to anything. You can have that to show them. I mean, of course, you're going to have your fee, right? But you want to be able to show them a couple net sheets with different prices. I did that for clients before. I had 8 net sheets at one time, because it's like, well, what does it look like if I get X amount, $1 million or $1.2 million or $1.1 million, or let's look at what that looks like. So you have to break them out, and you have to print them out so they can see it. It
So
helps.
I usually have the title company do that for me.
Oh, I didn't know that they would.
Yes, because
Good
the
to know.
title.
But
Yeah.
this is one more thing I'm going to tell you to try and learn how to do it yourself. So that way you just know all the different things that are involved. It's easy to look at the estimated sheet that the title company gives you, but when you can calculate out some of that for your client, just to give them an overview, like this one here that you see on the screen with EXP,
Yeah.
that is awesome because it's one sheet, it's simple, you can plug in and put in the information in there. It shows your value. This is why they should pay you that X amount percent, whether the buyer or the seller. You can do a net sheet for your buyers too. But today we're talking about sellers. So you definitely want to make a sheet for your sellers. And if you need to do one or two of them, have one or two of them.
Yeah, but you're shocking. That's good. I'd never seen that. I've always had the title company do it with me, and I usually take 3 of them with me to my listing appointment, so they see the different
Okay.
numbers.
Yeah, that's good. And even more so, I've talked about it before, that intake assessment sheet, the buyer's package, the seller's package, even more so now, it's going to be so important to be able to have those at your fingertips and available. Have some that are just somewhat generic, meaning it's something that you can hand over to somebody when you go open house for somebody, or you meet somebody at an open house if they don't already have a broker that they're attached to. Have something that you can give to someone, or something that you can drop off the same day with somebody. So make sure that you put those together. What do I have for next week from EXP? A listing writer, hopefully an addendum, will be updated with compliant language. There is one already in SkySlope that you can take a look at. Updates to the EXP buyer broker agreement is coming. Updates to EXP Marketing Center for your buyer presentations. They already have that in there, but I'm sure they're going to be tweaking it and adding more, and then updates for the seller presentation as well. So those will be coming to you from EXP within, hopefully next week. We should get more of those broadcasted out to everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah, okay, let me stop the share. Oop. X out of that. X out of that. Okay. Now, any questions? Ask away.
So many questions. I don't even
Well,
know
let's
where
hear
to
some of
start.
them. You've been saying what's one question on your mind right now?
So say like my sister, she wants to sell the house. She can choose to offer to pay the buyer broker, and then that would be in her best interest, right? Because you would get more people interested, right? And more people coming, more visibility, right? Would you say that, or what
Yeah,
would you say?
I mean, I did right now.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed with our contracts. So the listing presentation, the listing agreement, you definitely want to take a look at that and let me know what questions you have on that, and we can even go over that together. But yeah, you get more exposure with the more buyers you have coming to look at the property. And if that means, if she waits any longer, because we were talking about this, if she waits longer, we get into June and July, then she has the option not to pay a buyer's agent. But then she is definitely most likely going to restrict the number of people that see the house.
So it's
Right.
funny we're having this conversation because I was on, I think, one of the websites I follow for agents. I think it's a Fast Forward one.
Yeah.
And someone came up with that and was talking about I think Joe Prather or somebody like that was talking about something like this, what you guys are talking about. And someone got on and said, dude, you can't say, that because you're steering.
It is.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
And it's like,
I knew
how
that was
do you
like
say it? I mean, just like,
And that's why I
you're
said
admitting,
potentially,
right?
because you can't tell them, no, you can't, but everything that everybody's saying is really still a possibility. I'm not telling them to pay a broker fee. I'm just saying there's a possibility that agents out there won't be showing their clients because if they're not going to get paid, they may not. That's
But I
always
like that.
been the case.
I like that
And
possibility
that's always
word
been the
right
case.
there.
But that's always been the case, because think about it, the MLSs have always had a percentage in there, right, for compensation. There have always been agents that don't show certain properties if they're not above a certain amount of compensation to the buyer's agent. That's always been the case. Nothing's changed. I never would say, oh, buyer, I'm only going to show you the ones that I'm going to
Oh,
get paid a lot of.
absolutely.
Those are